right, so I need your help. I need to buy the ice cream for our reward party, except I don't know what kind to get or how much. So do you think you can help me with that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, for a couple of days we've been talking about graphs. And we're going to use what we know about graphs to help me figure out what kind of ice cream to get and how much. So let's talk about some of the graphs that we've already been learning. We have talked about a line graph, where it shows the information that we have gotten on with a line. Picture graphs that displays the information by pictures on a graph. And we've talked about a circle graph, and that's kind of like with our dojo. We look to see how much percentage that we have on our dojo circle on our donut. That's a circle graph. Today we're going to learn more about a bar graph, okay? The bar graph is going to help us figure out how much ice cream to get and what kinds. The reason for our lesson today is to learn how to sort, record, and answer questions about information on a bar graph. Why do you think it's important to be able to read and understand information on graphs? Why do you think that that's important for us to do? Heidi?
To get along what the children like or the parents like.
To help us be able to find out what kind of things people like. Okay. What else do you think it might be important for us to be able to read and understand what's on a graph? Chase?
So, like, if you have a problem and you don't know how much stuff you need, you can use a bar graph.
You could use a bar graph, can't you, to kind of help you with deciding how much things you get, like what we're going to do with our ice cream reward party, right? Very good. So how are we going to do this today? Hands down. Thank y'all for sharing. Those were some great reasons for why it's important to read and understand information on a graph. This is how we're going to do it today. We're going to talk about a bar graph. We're going to take a survey, and then you will get to make a bar graph with your friends, okay? So let's talk about the different parts of a bar graph. A bar graph always has a title. The title tells you what the information is about. Bar graphs also have labels. Your labels let you know what each bar stands for on the graph. Bar graphs also have numbers to let you know how many. A bar graph is using the bars to show a picture of the data collected. So let me test and see if you were paying attention. London, can you come show me, point to where the labels are on the bar graph? You come point to where the labels are. Very good. Good job, London. Those were exactly where the labels are. Perfect. And the labels, remember, what do the labels tell you, Landon? What the bars stand for. Very good. That is correct. What about our title? Emily, can you come show us where the title is on our bar graph? Oh, good job. Very good. And who can tell me what the title tells us? Lynn.
Students' favorite color.
It's telling us what the information is about. Very good. What about the numbers? Adelaide, you want to come show us where the numbers are? Great job, Lynn. Great job, Emily. Thank y'all so much. Very good. Thank you. And who can tell me what the numbers represent? Gianna.
How much?
How many? Very good. Excellent job. Well, now that y'all have been able to identify the parts of the bar graph, y'all were able to point, explain to me what they were. I want us to now figure out how to read a bar graph. Bar graphs can go two different ways. What difference do you see between these two bar graphs? Cairo?
I see one that's going up and one that's going this way.
Across. Very good. Very good. Do you think that that it's different? Am I going to read the information differently? Delania, what do you think? Is the information, let me ask you this, I'm sorry, is the information different whether it goes this way or this way?
No.
No, it's not different, just in how we look at it and read. So I'm going to call on some friends to help us read. Dajane, can you help me on the favorite types of music? Can you come up here and tell me how many students liked jazz? 14. How did you determine that so quickly? Because that was super fast. How did you do that?
All you just gotta do is look at where it's at.
Where?
The number.
Where it stopped at, and you can tell that it stopped right here on the number 14. Very good. So Dajane just read across, and she looked at the word jazz because there's our labels, right? And she saw that, whoa, it stops on 14, and she was able to determine that very quickly. Thank you, Dajane, for helping us. So let's look at students' favorite juices. Riley, can you help us with how many students' favorite juice was purple?
6.
How did you determine that so quickly?
Because I look on the line and I see, I stop on, it stops and I
And what did it stop on?
6.
It stopped on 6. So you looked for the label that said, because I was asking which color juice did I ask? Purple. So you found the label purple and you looked up to see where it stopped, and it stopped on
6.
Excellent job. Thank you, Riley. That was so quick at being able to read our bar graph. So we now have identified the parts of a bar graph. We've learned how to read different types of bar graphs. Now it's time to take our survey. Remember, a survey is a collection of data and information, Landon. And what kind of information am I wanting to collect today? Who can tell me? Eric?
What you made to figure out how to get how much stuff.
And what's the
ice cream?
ice cream? I need to find out our choice of ice cream flavors. So go ahead and be thinking. Is chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry your top choice for the reward party, okay? So go ahead and brainstorm that. I want you to be thinking on it. Now we're going to take a survey so that you can help me figure out which kind of ice cream to get. When you have your decision, I want you to give me a thumbs up of what your ice cream choice is. Remember, it's just on our chest. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Aiden. Love to see those fingers up on our thumbs up on our chest. Okay, we ready? Now, here's the most important part of taking a survey. You can only vote once. Only once. So make sure that you are 100% sure about your choice. Are you ready? All right. If your favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate, raise your hand.
Miss Erica, we need toilet paper in the office, please. Miss Erica, toilet paper in the office.
Chocolate. All right, hands are high. I'm going to get ready to count all the way up high so that I can tell that chocolate is your favorite. Are you ready? All right, I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Peyton, would you please come up here and graph how many people voted for chocolate, please? Find. Press a little bit harder. There you go. Thank you, Peyton. All right, let's check our work. All right, so how many people voted for chocolate? 5. So will you help me check to make sure that we did our work correctly? As I point to a rectangle, I want you to count. Are you ready? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is our bar graph match our results for our survey?
Yes.
Excellent job. All right, now are you ready? On to vanilla. Raise your hand if vanilla is your choice of ice cream. Once your hand is up, make sure that you are 100% sure. All right, I'm counting. Hands up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 10. Hands down. Gianna, can you come help me with graphing our votes for vanilla? Yeah, there you go. Reach all the way up. Good job. Excellent job. Thank you, Gianna. All right, so let's count and see if our graph matches our results. Are you ready? I'm pointing and you're counting along. Ready? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So does our graph match our results?
Yes.
All right, last category. Strawberry. Raise your hand if strawberry is your favorite choice of ice cream. 1, 2, 6, 5. Cairo, can you come up and help us with graphing our 5 votes for strawberry? Huh? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're doing it. Good job, Cairo. Thank you for helping us with that. All right, so let's check our work. Let's make sure that our graph matches our results. Again, you're counting as I point. Chloe, on your phone. Ready? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So, does our graph match our results?
Yes.
Awesome job. Now that we know what your favorite choices are, and I want to thank you all for helping do a great job at counting and filling in the bar graph. So now I'm wondering, how to read this information, okay? So we've sorted and we've recorded. Now I want us to answer some questions to make sure that we understand what this information is telling us, okay? So, which ice cream flavor had the most votes? The most votes. Josh.
Vanilla.
How did you determine that? What information did you use to help you make that decision?
Because I counted because vanilla was the most, and then
That bar graph is all the way up here, isn't it? You can just look at the bar graph and see that vanilla's bar is way above the other ones. So I want to write that on my board. I want to write a complete sentence explaining that vanilla had the most votes. Capital letter, period, and explained what I wanted to tell. Good job. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, baby. All right, now that we have found out which one has the most votes, which one has the least amount of votes? Chloe.
strawberry and chocolate.
Strawberry and chocolate? How did you determine that?
They're both at 5.
They're both at 5. Very good. That is right, Chloe. And how were you able to look at the bar graph and determine that information? Very good. So you looked at the bars and saw that they were at the same spot, and you went over here and looked at the numbers to help you determine how many. Very good. So let's write that on our board. Let's write a sentence explaining how chocolate and strawberry had the least amount of votes. Very good. You are doing such a great job at reading the graph. Now I have a question. How many more vanilla than chocolate do we have? How many more votes does vanilla have than chocolate? Elijah? 5. How do you know it's 5? How did you determine that? So you said you know that vanilla had how many votes?
5.
How many votes does vanilla have?
10.
You knew that vanilla had 10 votes. And so you knew that chocolate had 5 votes. So Elijah kind of used a little bit of that think addition strategy that we've learned. You remember how we learned about that? And he said in his mind, 10 or 5 plus 5 equals 10. So to figure out how many more, he said 10 minus 5 equals 5. So how many more votes does vanilla have than chocolate? 5 more votes. So let's write that in a sentence. Let's see. Vanilla had 5 more votes than chocolate. You're doing such a great job at helping me to read the information on our graph. Now, this might be a little tricky one. Let me see if you can figure this one out. What would happen if we change the votes for chocolate? What if we had 6 votes for chocolate instead of 5? How would that change our graph? Adelaide? It would add more over here. So you're right. So what would happen if I asked then how many more votes does vanilla have than chocolate? How would that change that statement? Eric?
You would say 4 instead of 5.
Very good. That's right. So it would have been vanilla had 4 more votes than chocolate. Awesome job. Y'all kiss your smart brains. Y'all are doing such a great job. All right, last question. Are you ready? Are you ready? Dajane is ready. How many students voted all together? Take a moment. How many students voted all together for our reward party? I see some people working. Brian?
20.
Who agrees? Thumbs up or thumbs down if we agree with Brian's answer of 20 votes altogether? Cairo, why do you agree with Brian's choice or his answer of 20 votes?
Because all I have to do is count.
Count? And what did you count?
Well, I count 2 buzzes, another 2 buzzes, and I got 5.
And he counted. Did you hear that? Cairo said what he did is he counted and added this 5 plus this 5 and added another 10, and that gave him 20. So good job. That is correct, Cairo. And you are correct, Brian. We had 20 votes altogether. What's another way that someone determined that there were 20 votes altogether? Flania?
I just knew that 10 plus 10 equals 20, so I just need 20 other times.
Listen to y'all. Y'all are being able to add so quickly. I am so proud of you for using all those strategies. She also looked and knew that chocolate had 5, strawberry had 5, and she put those together, and she knew that was 10, and she knew vanilla had 10, so 10 plus 10 equals 20. Awesome job. Y'all are doing such a fantastic job. Analyzing and interpreting data. That's what we just did. That's what it means to sort, record, and answer questions about a graph. It's analyzing and interpreting, and y'all have done a fantastic job. So now, I have a goal for you. Are you ready? You are now, you know what? Hold on a minute. Before I do that, let me ask you this. To be able to help me now to decide what kinds and how much ice cream to get, how many ice cream flavors do I need to get? Dajane? 3 flavors. Very good. And how much ice cream do I need? Janelle? How many do I need? 20. Very good. So now I know what flavors to get. I know how much to get. And now it's your turn to sort and record and answer questions at your tables. Okay? After you have sorted and recorded, you're going to answer these 3 questions. And this is kind of like what I just did for us over here. Are you ready? All right,
Yes,
Chloe,
ma'am.
Josh, Brian. Need to see eyes this way, please, and thank you. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Your first question after you sort and record is going to be, which had the most votes? And you're going to answer it with blank had the most votes. Your second question is going to be, which had the least? You're going to answer blank had the least amount of votes. Now our last one is going to ask you, how many people completed the survey, meaning how many total votes? Okay, and then all your right, which I don't have up here, would be blank. There were blank amount of votes. Okay, any questions? All right, so I want you to now, your goal is going to be to organize, sort, and interpret, answer questions about the data given to you to create a graph. So I want you to turn and face your desk. Hunter, can you turn the light on for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to just provide you with some information about what I expect when you come to your desk group. You have a graph that already has a title, it already has your labels, and it already has your numbers for you. Because that's too easy for y'all. Y'all know how to do all of that. It's already been provided for you. Your job is to sort your data, and there it is inside the bag. You need to put it into groups. And then once you do that, you're going to look to see how many were in each category, each group. And you're simply going to color it in. Once you're done coloring it in, then you answer your questions. And I will put those back up on the smartboard for you so that you can look over there and help you to see where you need to be. Which had the most, which had the least, and how many votes altogether. You will also have my examples here to help you with how the sentences should look. They need to be complete sentences with capital letters, punctuation, okay? Once you get to your table group, I will assign someone to sort, record, and write. However, you're all going to be helping to decide which had the most, which had the least, and how many altogether. Y'all are going to work together to answer the questions. There's just going to be one person writing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody have any questions? Anybody confused? Okay. You will have about 10 minutes to work on this. I will let you know when 2 minutes, the 2-minute warning is. Make sure that you're using a whisper voice, okay? I'm going to be walking around to make sure that we understand what to do and if you need any help, okay? Are we ready? You may stand. You do not have to sit. No, sorry, I apologize. Sit. You may stand at your desk to do this activity, okay? All right. Red row. Go to your desk. With purpose, Brian, with purpose. Purple row. Orange. Blue. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Felaney. I love how they both went to their desks. They're standing up straight and tall. They're not leaning and waiting for further directions in green. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Gianna. Okay. You ready? I want you to sort, record, write. And you're going to help sort, okay? Y'all may begin. Sort. You're sorting this information. Chloe, you're going to help him. You're going to write. You are going to record. Sort,
But I
write.
don't know how to record.
You're just going to fill in. You're just filling in. Yeah. All right, y'all may begin. All right. Write. Eric, record. Emily, sort. Write, record, sort. Go.
Stop. I'm coming. I don't need it. Right. Three actually. Just only going back.
Good job, Chloe. I like how you were helping check to make sure that y'all are doing it correctly. Good job. Hermit crab, find the hermit crab. You gotta find the hermit crab. Very good.
One. This is a puzzle.
That is correct. Good job.
It's a racer.
It's okay. It's okay. Just go and do this way.
One.
You gotta tell him.
No, there's two. There's two. Really?
Oh.
Really? You're right.
And
1, 2, 3 turtles.
where's turtles? Wow, look at y'all go. Y'all got that done quickly. So now that y'all sorted and recorded, what do we do next? All right. Amy, can you pass it over? Questions are up on the board. Y'all help her determine which had most, which had least, and how many total
What
votes.
am I gonna do?
Chloe, way to be responsible. Good job, girl.
Am I just gonna say?
You're going to help Lynn answer the question.
Hold the bag open.
This is a little confusing.
Oh my God! You're done.
Okay. So you got cotton candy, you got popcorn, you got candy apples. There's 3 more cotton candies. There you go. All right, y'all. Okay. Over here, guys. All together. Y'all are already answering questions? Remember, we're using a whisper voice. Now, hands on head. We are not using a whisper voice. It's hard for others to concentrate if you are being a little too loud, okay? Whisper voice. Unfreeze. You'll fill all of them in. And there was one for all of them. Put all of your data back into your bag. And now, y'all have got some help. When you have finished recording your data, you can put your cards back in your bag like Eric's group has, Chloe's group has. Good job. You're in Chloe's group. Good job, Josh. Where should you be? Are we on the floor? Okay, well then take your okay, thank you. Good job. Y'all put y'all back in the bag. Good.
Hey.
How many people completed the survey? How many votes All right, you have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. There you go. Good job. Alright, you've got your question, your answer for how many votes are there. Are y'all helping Lynn answer these questions? How many votes are together? All together.
I'm still trying to get it.
carpet seat. Alright, I need Ryan, Riley, Jeremiah, Lynn, and Eric to come to the carpet.
I'm trying to eat it.
No, ma'am, I did not ask you to do that. I said topsail markers, and then come to our carpet seat. Alright, Gianna, can you go get your answer card for me, please? I like how Gianna's group worked quickly, quietly. They did their jobs, they cleaned up their area, and they were ready to go when the time was up. You all did a great job of sorting and recording. I know that some of us just their answer card. Yes, thank you. I know not all of us had time to answer the questions, and that is okay, because it takes a little bit of time to write and answer. So Gianna, can you share what y'all's favorite, what your title of your graph was? Here, turn this way so everybody can see. What was the title of y'all's graph? What does it say? Favorite bugs. Okay, so which had the most votes of favorite bugs? Snails had the most votes. Which had the least?
Ants had the least votes.
And how many people voted on y'all's graph?
There were 17 votes.
17 votes in all. Good job. Thank you so very much, Gianna, for sharing. Let me put that back on the thing. Excellent job. Hunter, can you get the first slide for me, please? Alright, so if you will turn and face the smartboard. So why is it important? Think about this. Why do you think it's important to be able to sort, record, and answer questions about graphs? Why do y'all think that that is important? Janelle? So it helps us to be able to see information very quickly, doesn't it? Remember how we were able to look when we were doing our ice cream reward party graph? We were able to look at it and quickly be able to see the results of how many liked chocolate Cairo, how many liked vanilla, how many were all together. So it's important because it helps us to be able to read information very quickly. What else do you think it's important, Landon? Very good. So that helped me with our reward party graph to make sure that I get what everybody would like. So it helps me with being able to provide y'all with what y'all need or like. Has anyone ever seen a graph outside of school? Have you ever seen a graph outside of school? Maybe at home or in a store? Gianna?
I saw it on somebody's phone. They were seeing how much they need to eat.
So you saw it on somebody's phone, and what kind of graph did it look like?
It was like a circle.
A circle graph. So being able to use graphs are important outside of school as well, aren't they? It's not just for at school. And Gianna's saying is that she saw it on somebody's phone, that they were using it to see how much
Like protein,
protein,
fat, and sugar.
so they were using a circle graph to help them to determine how much protein they needed for that day or how much sugar they didn't need. So graphs can be used for things outside of school as well, right? Well, I use graphs to help me see how much money I'm spending or how much money I'm saving. So we use graphs outside of school. What are some other ways that you could use graphs to help you? Are there any ways that you can use graphs to help you, Felania?
Maybe like if you're on math kids reading and then you got stuck on something and then you say, wait a minute, I seen this word before, and then you can use a graph to help you like what word it is.
So you're saying you could kind of use a graph to help you with words that you're struggling with, that you can maybe kind of make a graph and maybe those are the words that you need help with studying. Okay, that's a great way of using a graph. Does anybody else have an example of how to use a graph? Eric, to help them.
You could use a graph to see how much somebody, what you need to get for somebody, or what you need to get, or how you need to eat.
So like a graph to help you with, maybe your mom uses a graph to decide how much food to get and what kinds for like your grocery list. That's a good example. One more, Dajane.
If you get some candy, you can look on chip, you can look on the back to see how much sugar it got.
Yeah, on labels on food, there are kind of like graphs that provide you with how much vitamins or sugars or protein and fiber, different things, and it kind of looks like a graph to help you to see how much is in that particular kind of food. Well, good job, that's right. Those are some great examples of how you can use graphs outside of school. Thank you for sharing. Y'all all did a fantastic job at sorting and recording, working together in your groups. I want you to remember that we used what we knew about graphs to help me with my reward party ice cream graph to know how much we needed to get and what kinds. And I want you to remember that our lesson for today was talking about how we let me start over again on that, sorry guys. The reason for our lesson today was to learn how to sort, record, and answer questions about graphs. And we did this by talking about a bar graph. Then we took a survey to help me with my reward party graph. And then you went and practiced sorting, recording, and answering questions on your own graphs. Tomorrow during our math lesson, we're going to continue to work on answering questions about data. So let's turn and face our clips. Awesome job today. I'm so proud of y'all.